Welcome back to Startup Street. We are in conversation with global icon Priyanka Chopra Jonas and Anchit Nayar of Nykaa. Priyanka, like we were discussing, everything in the collection is gender neutral, starting from 750 rupees and is housed in bottles made from 100% plastic trash and infinitely recyclable cans. How important is it for you to build a brand that is environment friendly?
So I come from the entertainment business, and I feel like the beauty and fashion industry create the most waste. And, the entertainment business is very intertwined with beauty and fashion. So I am environmentally conscious, as I think everyone should be. The earth that our children will inherit needs to kind of be viable. And we, especially in beauty, we have to be able to better our carbon footprint. We cannot have the kind of waste that we do. So I was very conscious about it anyway, being in beauty and fashion myself, that had to be a big part of the brand that I created. And to be able to take trash, like literally plastic trash that you see sitting in oceans, and we've all seen those videos of oceans and landfills and what happens to the fish. And I just think I was thinking about the fact that if we could use that plastic again and use recyclable plastic, but it still looks really great. And that was my big question for Mesa. I was like, if we're going to, use caps that are 3 cents each, like, what is that going to look like? Is it going to be able to stand the test on a haircare aisle compared to all of these other competitive, and we created something which looks elegant, is really, really beautiful, but is made out of 100% trash. And that's something I'm really, really proud of.
Picking up from what Priyanka just said, Anchit, for you and the company, how conscious are you of bringing in clean, environment-friendly brands to the platform? And what efforts are we going to see in this direction?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, Shruti. So we recently launched an initiative called Conscious at Nykaa. And what we're doing is we're trying to give a lot more visibility and create a lot more awareness for brands that we classify as conscious. And for us, our definition of conscious is brands that are either clean, vegan, cruelty-free, and with organic ingredients. So for us, it's a very big focus, and we think it's the future. We think Indian consumers now are very aware and very conscious about what they're putting into their, what they're buying, but also what they're putting back into the environment, as Priyanka said. So it's a focus for our consumers, and naturally, it's a very big focus for us. So we are ahead of the curve. We are focusing strongly on building awareness and building popularity for conscious beauty brands. And of course, Anomaly falls perfectly within that, given some of the things that Priyanka spoke about.
Anchit, we've seen Nykaa partner with global brands, for instance, Estee Lauder for the Beauty Brand Mentorship Program. How do global brands look at India as a market today?
Yeah, so I think for global brands, India was always important because, the demographics of the country, the under-penetration of beauty consumption, the sheer potential of India has been undeniable for many years. But I think with the past couple of years, with Nykaa having what we say democratized access for beauty. Now we've democratized access for consumers in the sense that consumers living in smaller towns can now get access to the biggest beauty brands globally. And also vice versa. Now, large global brands who were never present in India can now be able to interact and engage with consumers in small towns overnight because we're an online first platform, but we also have a large network of stores. So I think we've democratized access. And as a result, brands are seeing India as a very viable market now. Given the size of our population, given the access that one now has, I think India has come to the top of the list. And I think, China was a priority for many brands, and they had a successful run with China for many years, but I think China is facing its own issues. So we strongly believe that now is the time for India to take up the mantle of leadership in the beauty space. And we're seeing a lot of focus from global brands, but I think what excites me even more is seeing Indians and seeing Indian founders, and Priyanka, I think, is a great example for future Indian entrepreneurs, that India is the right market. I mean, you don't need to look very far from home, and this is a very promising market for everyone.
Well, absolutely. Priyanka, coming back to you and to Anomaly, any new offerings in the pipeline? Will you also be looking at adding other verticals, perhaps enter skincare or the makeup segment?
Yes to all. Expansion, expansion, expansion. That's the idea. Whether that is in the verticals that we are creating, in terms of products, in terms of the countries that we want to travel to. But yes, like scalp care is really important to me. So I want to expand on scalp care a little bit. We haven't touched styling products yet because, like I said, to me, the whole collection is about putting back into your hair versus like taking anything out of your hair. So yes, I do want to expand in terms of, we're back in the lab right now. I just tested out a few products a couple of days ago, so I'm very, very excited about what will come through. But outside of that, when it comes to skincare and I mean, at the moment, my focus is hair, but you never know. Like, I'm always doing new things, and I don't know if that'll happen yet.
Okay. Priyanka, you've invested in startups like Bumble, Apartment List, Holberton School. What is your investment thesis? What do you look for in startups? And any more investments in the works?
Yes, to all. I am, like I said, a new investor. I'm new in the game. It's just been a few years that I have been investing in brands, but my philosophy is pure instinct. Like just like Anomaly, like to find a gap in the market. I like to find and support brands that would require the springboard that I can bring in terms of my platform, but at the same time that I see potential of growth. I love the ability to attach with a brand when they're a little bit more nascent and then watch that growth happen with me as a partner. That's something that I really enjoy doing. And yes, when it comes to investing in more brands, we're always trying to find new things to do. I'm always trying to find new brands to invest in. Perfect Moment is a new brand that I just invested in with my husband. It's the latest one we did, which is like ski wear, winter wear, outerwear, but more lifestyle as well. So, I'm always looking for new things to do. And when it comes to my investment portfolio, I'm very excited to be able to expand it as much as I can.
Priyanka, before I let you go, I want to talk to you about work-life balance. As a young mother, actor, entrepreneur, activist, you don many hats. What is your advice to young women of today who look up to you as a role model, and how do you do it all?
Well, I do think that, and this has been my philosophy for many years now, I'm sitting at a 22-year career at this point, and I think it's really important to have a work-life balance. You have to prioritize your personal life, you have to prioritize your family, you have to prioritize your sanity. And I won't say that I did that in my 20s, I really didn't. But I ran, I never slept, I never focused on my life at all. But as I grow older, like, I think my philosophy is when I switch off from my work day, I'm with my family. And I always make sure I prioritize that. But at the same time, if I'm supposed to be sitting here having this conversation with you, at whatever time I'm required to do it, I will do it because that's important to me as well. I think prioritizing and compartmentalizing is really, really important when it comes to a work-life balance.
All right, on that note, it's time for me to wrap up this conversation. Thank you very much, Priyanka and Anchit, for joining us today. Wish you the very best with Anomaly and all your future endeavors.
Thank you so much, Shruti. Thank you, everyone.
Take care, everyone.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Startup Street. More news and updates coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.